Greetings, brothers and sisters. This video is going to be a little discombobulated because a little bit out of routine. My wife and I were traveling, and we just returned home today, like last night. And I was so tired, just exhausted. And, I got out of routine a little bit. And then, there's weird things going on with YouTube. One of the things that allows me to make videos every day is that I have a routine. And I'm a little bit out of routine. And then there was just all these clips I got from 2 days ago. And one of them was an Alec Baldwin clip that somebody sent me that appeared to be new, but it isn't. And so I was going to not show it, but it's good mocking. And, the days of mocking Alec Baldwin are pretty much over. So I'm going to mock this clip twice. And, it was from like 2 years ago. And I realized at the end it's kind of funny. So there's that. And then there's a weird clip from CNN, and they go after Fauci over masks in a way I was pretty shocked about. Maybe you guys have already seen that. But they rolled that out. And so, there's lots of changes here. And there are a lot of things that are, mashed up together here. And then there was a poll done, which I'll get to in a moment. And nobody really wants to see this Biden-Trump rematch. And so there's all of those things. Okay, so I saw this from Huffington Post. This is their front page. It isn't a rerun. It's a grand finale. Doesn't this just bum you out? Like, this just, like, suck you dry? Looking at these two, like, old white dudes who just sucked on every level and everything they represent in terms of their followers and supporters and as people and just all of it. The fact that we did this before and after 4 years of Trump and Trump's horrible exit from, one of the worst exits in presidential history. The way he got worked at COVID, the way he, did Operation Warp Speed, and then just how he went out in the election, all the rest of it. Just like an embarrassment, like one of the most embarrassing things I've ever seen. And he still has supporters, which is sad and kind of pathetic. And Joe Biden, who was a corpse when he ran for president in 2019, and then he's just been getting worse, right? He's decaying right in front of our eyes, and he sucked. And this is what they're producing as candidates. No acknowledgement of how bad it sucked, and just everything about it sucks. Like, it's not just the policies or the outcome or all of it. Just a real bummer. And so, like, these guys, Trump's 77, Jojo Bagoo's 80. They'll both be in their 80s if they should win. Trump would be sworn in, I guess that would be a year from now. He'd be 78. Jojo would be 81. And so, just really negative stuff here. So here's the article. At this point in the 2024 race, it looks like President Joe Biden is set for a rematch with his predecessor, Donald Trump. It's a matchup that nobody wants to see, at least according to the polls of the pundits. About 70% of the public say they don't want either Trump or Biden to run for president. 70%. 70% of the people. That's like an overwhelming majority. According to one August poll, that is consistent with multiple surveys throughout 2023. National and local newspapers columnists, meanwhile, bemoan another awful matchup in the sense of impending doom that is sending voters through the famous 5 stages of grief. The majority of complaints about the rematch are personal in nature. Age is the predominant concern. Biden 80 or Trump 77 would be the oldest president ever elected if successful in 2024 race. So you'd have the oldest president at a time, it's not like it's some guy that we didn't know. It's two just absolute horrors as president. Two guys who just complete failures in every possible way. Trump is a twice impeached, 4 times indicted lout who threatens the fundaments of American democracy. Biden, on the other hand, is perceived as dull and doddering. He won't send to thrill up your leg or make you see starbursts. This is a liberal Huffington Post, but it's much worse. Biden is, they're both really bad. Like, I don't know who is worse. And I mean that on every level. just having those people's presence in our lives on a daily basis. Like having a president is just always around. Like anytime you turn on the news and, even comedians or wherever you look at any kind of media, you're going to see Trump and Biden, whoever wins the presidency. And Trump just never goes away, whether he's president or not. Like he's just going to, until he dies, he's just going to be there lurking, like some kind of a lurker. And so, it's just, they just need to disappear. 70% of the people want them to disappear. They don't want this. And yet they're getting it. Like this shows you everything about democracy is a joke because you're supposed to give the people what they want. They don't want this. And yet somehow they're voting for this. I mean, the Democrats don't have really a choice because the Democratic National Committee is not even opening up a primary. And the Republicans are kind of having a primary, but in reality, Trump's already won it as long as he's not in jail. I mean, it's just, the whole thing is just so sucky and all of this, right? Okay, so I got a bunch of stuff to get to. I got a Fauci thing, foochi thing I'm going to cover here. And Alec Baldwin's got a pathetic video. We haven't seen him in a while. And, a few other things here. I just don't want to be talking about Trump. This is, I did a trilogy on him. This was a leftover video, but just in terms of this, I thought a rematch might be interesting in terms of this show. And I don't know, maybe a year or two ago, whatever it was. But now that we've reached this point, it's just like when you look at these guys, you're like, oh my God, we just go away. Like the thing that wouldn't leave, right? And it's same old stuff here.
We were leaving Afghanistan with dignity and strength. Biden left.
He starts out, he's already in fishboy pose.
We were leaving Afghanistan with dignity and strength. Biden left in shame and defeat. A defeat like this country has never suffered before.
Well, double fishboy. I nailed the double fishboy. Big giant colossal cursor. It happened. It's a double sort of transitional fishboy there. The thing is, like, it's just a married couple that has been bitching about their spouse, or they're in a divorce that's lasting 8 years or something. And they just, you're just tired of them bitching about it, right? Like, somebody who's, had a bad marriage and, maybe rightfully so. And, at some point you just got to move on. You shouldn't be talking about it constantly 3 years after the divorce, 2 years after the divorce. The person screwed you over, you got taken advantage of, whatever it is. And, or, it doesn't have to even be a divorce, but something like that. Somebody's wronged you and you keep on dwelling out and talking about it. And, he's preaching to the choir. The math, as I said, is historically against Trump. It's against Biden, too. Part of the math is their age. But it's, against them. And the math for Trump is he has very enthusiastic support, maybe not as he used to. Not as much as he used to. He's lost some of it. And he doesn't have any other inroads to those other demographics. So he's the one-trick pony that appeals to one group of people. And those people aren't enough to get him elected. And they're not listening to him. And they like when he talks about Biden this way because they hate Biden. Even the people who aren't totally in love with Trump, who dislike Biden and the liberals, this is appealing to them. But, you're not going to win votes with this, right? You're not going to change the math. This isn't math changing, right? Double fish boy.
This month marks the 2-year anniversary of the most embarrassing event in the history of our country, Joe Biden's disastrous surrender in Afghanistan.
Afghanistan?
This was one of the horrible...
She's got the fish boy.
Horrible events in our country's past, leaving thousands and thousands of Americans behind. We don't even know the number. 13 dead warriors, hundreds...
Okay, so, we don't need to listen to this anymore. Just go away. And with the Biden supporters, you can't do anything with Biden because he's president. But the Democratic Party, DNC, will get the writing on the wall. If Trump goes, Biden has to go with him. There's no reason to run Biden against a younger, non-Trump person. They're going to have to get rid of him in some way or another. And so if you get rid of Trump, you get rid of Biden. And then you could just have, different sucky politicians, like who suck equally as bad or maybe even a little bit worse, but they're at least something new, like something different. So I just want to do a brief voiceover here as, I'm editing. And a few comments here I got. These were Trumpers. Person says, I unsubscribe because you're a negative person. This is a Trumper, a Trump and Z. A bunch of people like the, one of my viewers called somebody else a Trump and Z. And a bunch of my viewers have also liked that saying. I unsubscribe because you're a negative person. You should be so lucky to live here where a great president like this is running the country. Still, haha, why don't you move out of the country? So see how you beg to come home. Stuff it, dude. Is this one of those little Olsen twins back when stuff it, dude? From the Full House show. Stuff it, dude. And someone wrote straight butthurt, better get some ointment added ASAP. ASAP. They responded to this person. But these are the kind of comments the Trumpers give you. And then there's this one here. It's bloody political persecution. Wake up, stupid Americans. If you don't stop fighting Trump and let him save America, you will lose your country. And these were the kind of comments, and very few of them. Most of my viewers are in agreement with me on this thing. I can't fake it anymore. You talk about Trump just as much as MSNBC. I can't take it anymore. That was from I already read that comment. And, I made 3 videos. And, I've talked about the media being obsessed with Trump way more than I've talked negatively about Trump. But, this is the level of awareness from the Trumpansies. And I got this little thing to show you here. This is Marjorie Taylor Greene. And she, it says, things are about to get real. And this was on my phone this morning. I don't, subscribe to her on X or Twitter. And you can see here, there's 2 million views. Like, she just posted this thing, 11 a.m. Yesterday. And she's gotten 2 million views, Marjorie Taylor Greene. And that tells you everything you need to know about this country, because she is a dope and a nightmare, one of these fake QB truthers. And then somebody posted under there that they've said these things, every year. But it's just the awareness that's there in the Trump community. And, there's people that are just, like, not very evolved. And it's obvious that he couldn't do what he promised the first time. And it's only because you believe what he says, the Trumpers believe what he says, all the evidence and reality points to that he can't do what he's promising. And that's, the hopium working and stupidity. It's a combination of stupidity and hopium and very low consciousness. And, every truther that you see, every person that is so-called in the truth community, every politician, every media person, anybody on social media, if they don't say to you at some point that this system cannot be saved, they're not really worth listening to, because, that's the case. It's very obvious. It's something that's hard to accept, that this system can't be somehow made good, like made pure. And so anybody who doesn't say that to you, who can't say that to you, either they don't understand it, don't know, they're just limited themselves, or they're just out and out lying to you. But somebody saying, make America great again, and then, railing against all the corruption, all the, Trump is all negative now about how they're indicting him and how the world, is how bad it is and all these things. And, the disastrous effects of the Biden administration, but it was happening under Trump. And so, they've just, they failed, right? They're not telling you the truth, which is the system can't be saved. Whatever we're doing here in the truth community, it isn't about saving the system. That can't happen. There's no way of making this system into something that's divine and pure and, the good for us. Another thing that they need to say is the system is bad for you. It's bad for us on every level. Even though we're addicted to it and we're dependent on it, which sucks, it's bad for you. And so those are the two realities, that the system can't be saved, and the system's bad for you, and it would be better for us spiritually, and we can't move forward until the system is gone. Those are three truths. And anybody saying anything differently is, either a liar or they're just not good. They're not good at doing this. They don't have the ability to analyze what's going on in the country. And these Trumpers, I looked at all the comments and not one of them was giving any kind of proof or anything other than saying things to me like, you're disinformation or you're a shill, something along those lines. Or saying Trump is going to save the world. Why don't you guys wake up and see it? Like nothing substantive, like nothing that would combat what I'm saying. No proof of Trump's greatness. No proof that Trump could do what he's promised. No proof that Trump did something great. And when they excuse things like Operation Warp Speed or, what he did in January, like they just excuse all these horrible behaviors and failures of his. And it's only because he's the one person telling them what they want to hear on that level. He's the one person who said all the things that they believe. And for that, they'll stick with him forever. And it's kind of sad, really pathetic. But anyways, there's this Alec Baldwin. I thought it was new and it wasn't. I'm like, and I was going to cut it out of this video, but now I'm like, but this is probably the last time you'll see me mock him. So, like he's just disappeared smartly from social media. And so this might be it. This might be a swan song for Alec Baldwin. So every year, Alec Baldwin, who's looking more and more like an ogre, him and his family transition from their Hampton house or some house they have, I don't know. Maybe it's in Vermont, I don't know what it is. He's got a country house, and then him and his kids go there for the summer. He's got the Calibus eyes going here. He always makes a video about this, right?
Our last full day out here. We go back home tomorrow. When both places are home, actually. But we go home tomorrow.
He listed this house for sale when he was thinking he might get indicted.
I get my hair cut today, thank God.
He likes touching his hair. I like touching his hair. He likes touching his hair.
I used to work a lot more. I mentioned this to people. I used to work a lot more. And, film movies and TV and stuff like that. And
then I shot a coworker, and that was kind of frowned upon. That was kind of frowned upon in the TV movie industry.
And like when I did 30 Rock, one of the great things about that wasn't the creative experience was that there was somebody to cut my hair and do my nails. And
now I don't have that. Now I have to have my maid do that.
Sure, I shaved close and make sure we looked camera ready, as you say, as they say. When we were working. And I haven't really worked very much since COVID and beyond with what happened in New Mexico.
Yeah, that was it. You shoot a coworker, your employment history changes.
And I miss those days. People would lay out all these
the pre-shooting days when I wasn't a murderer.
Beautiful clothes and suits and ties and shirts with French cuffs and cufflinks, and it was a very pleasant experience on a sartorial and tonsorial level. So anyway, we're going to leave here.
enough about my disastrous life.
Saturday and go back to New York, and everybody's very excited about that. I'm excited about that. It's been 3 years, all of 2021, now 2022. Not a lot of work for me, home with my kids, which is great. I love it.
I love being home with those kids. All blonde kids with Spanish names. And my wife, she's from Boston, Spain. It's great. It's wonderful. I much prefer that to being a TV and movie star and people who used to not look at me as a murderer.
I have 7 children. I have 7 children. 8 total for me, but 7 with our coming baby. And not want to spend time with them. I love being with my kids. Do I want to have a poker game once a week, or a doubles tennis match, or do I want to join a book club, or do I want to do a lot of other things, some of which I used to do, the symphony, the theater, the ballet, the opera, all those things in New York I love.
I love those things. They're just great things. It sucks when you shot somebody, but other than that, they used to be great.
Go to the Yankee game or the Giants game or something, but not much time for that now. But I'm cool. I'm cool.
No, you're not.
I love my kids to death. I love my kids.
Don't love them to death too much. We know you have a problem.
It made life special for me. It's chilly here this morning. It's chilly. It's amazing how the change. It's really like, I think last night it was in the 60s, like 60.
The weather, it's crazy weather. When, the end of the summer, when it gets cold again, it's just crazy. It's so crazy.
2, like the low 60s or something. It's chilly. And today it's supposed to be very mild. And I just am leaving this message to say I have a wish for everybody today. And my wish is that as you all head back to...
Did they all forgive me about the thing that happened? Remember when, the aforementioned shooting?
Wherever you are, if you're away from home for the holidays and you are heading back home on the
Scratch my nose.
Traditional Labor Day weekend. I know that not every part of the country is like this. In California, they start school earlier, obviously, because they don't have to chase the summer. It's pretty much like the summer there 80% of the time, And in the East, where I live, we do chase the summer.
We do chase the summer, not in other places where it's hotter. And it's like still the summer there. And the summer isn't over for a longer period of time because it's hotter. Let's talk about the weather. This is a 9-minute video.
The summer is sacred. And everybody makes their plans around some piece of going away to Maine or Vermont. I love Vermont.
Big fan of Vermont.
I love Vermont. It's so magical there. Wherever you go, family homes on the Jersey Shore, Delaware.
What are you talking about? Delaware. Where did Delaware come from?
Get a little south of Washington. It gets a little toasty for me in the summertime.
Too toasty. Anything south of Washington, it's toasty for me. A little toasty.
In Long Island, where we are.
What about Boston, Spain? Is that toasty enough for you?
Lake country up north. Friends of mine who up in Connecticut and Hudson Valley and beyond. Finger Lakes, Great Lakes. Head out to someplace pretty like in Wisconsin. We shot the film Prelude to a Kiss in 1991, a long time ago, 30 years ago. And we shot in Chicago. And all the people that were Chicagoites, many of them had their vacation homes and weekend homes in Wisconsin. In the
Wisconsin. It's called Wisconsin.
Country. And everybody I know I drove up there once, so one day I had off. I didn't get very far, but I drove up to Wisconsin, and just stunning. I mean, this whole lake experience in Wisconsin was it's breathtaking. But anyway.
It was breathtaking. It was so breathtaking up in Wisconsin.
I'm rambling. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you are. This is a 9-minute video. Like, where are you going with this? You talked about the weather. Talked about leaving your country home and Your beach home in Hampton.
But wherever you are, if you're
That's where you are.
coming home from a holiday in the coming days, travel safely and get a haircut. Back to school. We're all getting our haircuts. My sons and I.
Why don't you bitch about Trump again? Why don't you talk about Trump? It's anything but this, right? Like, this is just so sad. It's depressing.
We're all going to go and get our back to school haircuts. And then hope everybody has a good fall with your jobs, that we'd be grateful.
There's still 4 minutes to go. Like, what could he possibly talk about? This thing should be wrapping up. He's said absolutely nothing. His life is over. He's a walking corpse. I'm feeling bad for him.
That we have gratitude for what we have. We have gratitude for what we have.
A wife who fakes an accent and pretends she's from another country and gets caught, embarrasses herself, and it's a scandal that would have wrecked our family had I not shot a coworker, and that thing took it to a new level.
This could be a lot worse. It could be tough. That we have gratitude for what we have.
You don't look grateful, Alec. You know, I'm always a big gratitude person. You know, I talk about gratitude quite a bit here. You don't look grateful. You look like you're just, you know, his last videos that I've seen, this is going back maybe a year, and he was up in Vermont, I think, and he was just talking about, like, you know, it's like he's doing his, I don't know, what do they call it when they read the whatever it is, somebody reads a eulogy. It's like he's doing his own eulogy. Every time he goes on social media, it's like he's doing his own eulogy.
That our children are safe and healthy and happy, and they get back to school. And if you ask me if I could have one wish, it wouldn't be for myself. I'd say I hope that everybody else is okay. I'd like to be okay too, in some department.
Because, you know, that's the kind of selfless guy he is. He doesn't wish anything for himself. But I want you to be okay. That's why I always, you know, look, he looks like Robert De Niro here. He's looking more and more homeless.
But I wish that everybody was okay. That they had a job. And at the very least, it wasn't a job that they hated or they felt demeaned or...
What about Trump? You wish Trump was okay?
Or overlooked. That they had a job, a good job, they could pay their bills. Maybe we all have to work hard. You know, when I was a little kid, I worked hard. I did a lot of things.
Then I got into Hollywood.
I got into this business and had a different kind of a life. Maybe people have jobs where they have to work hard. Hard. It's tough.
You okay, Alec?
But they have a job. And they can support their family. You know, everybody can have that beautiful, 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 beautiful feeling. That incredible feeling that you feel like your family's taken care of. I'm 64 years old, and everything to me is about family.
Exactly. That's all I care about is family.
If I were president of the United States, I'd sit down with a think tank, and all we would do is think about what are the things that are going to make things easier in this life for families, regardless of what kind of family. And I've said that before in these posts. Regardless of what kind of family. Between married men, married women, doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter to him. He wants any kind of anything you call a family. A goat and a chicken, you know, whatever it is. It's just, as long as it's family.
Trans this, gay this, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter to him.
You have kids.
Don't have kids.
Family, and you're trying to raise your family. What laws can be passed to make life easier for people who have a family?
Who have a family. Wow, his brain is like melted.
We won't ignore everybody that doesn't have a family, but try to make their life easier too. But make life.
You know, if you don't have a family, F you. I'm not making any laws for you.
Better. Make it less difficult to raise a family. People keep commenting about the bags under my eyes all summer.
It's been for like 4 years, Alec. Those bags, the Calibus, you know, from, you know, the Perseus movie with the Kraken, whatever it was called. Don't tell me, don't care, don't need to know. I'm in the editing process, Clash of the Titans. I was making this, I couldn't think of it. But I'll, you know, continue on here.
assuming I have a late onset allergy this summer. My eyes have been very puffy.
No, you're old. It's been like this for a couple of years. And you say this every time. He said this 3 years ago. The people are commenting on the bags under his eyes. He started talking about this 3 years ago.
I normally don't wake up anymore and look in the mirror, even if I ever did. I don't wake up.
I never did. I wasn't that kind of guy. I don't even own a mirror.
Look in the mirror and go, oh, there he is. Ooh, you. I don't do that.
So it was at this point I realized, oh man, I did this thing before. Because I used it as a meme. And I'll say that here, but I was like, oh, I'm going to have to get rid of this, right? Because I mocked him for the same video like 2 years ago. And I didn't recognize it. I've mocked him. I've spent an unhealthy amount of time mocking him, right? And so I was like, oh, I'm not going to use it. I'm like, well, I think it's pretty funny. And, you know, you guys probably don't remember either, so why not use it again? This is the last hurrah. And so then I wrap it up here. Okay, so somebody sent me this video today because someone had just put it up on TikTok. I thought it was Alec Baldwin had his own TikTok channel. And when he got to this part, the whole thing was sounding very familiar because I mocked him on this before. I was going to delete the whole video, this whole part of this video. But I'm like, you know, maybe it's still, it's new mocking. It's the same video from him, but it's new mocking from me. So I'm going to leave it in there. I've already spent the time. Maybe you'll get a laugh out of it. I don't know. But I thought this was him recently, but this is him from either last summer or I think 2 summers ago. Because he doesn't make videos anymore. But someone just put it up on TikTok because it's the end of the summer. They thought they could grab some views because Alec Baldwin doesn't post videos anymore. One of my viewers shared it, and it said it was up 15 hours ago. Today is the 5th of September. But this is the part I realized that I covered this before because I have a meme of this.
I normally don't wake up anymore and look in the mirror, even if I ever did. I don't wake up and look in the mirror and go, oh, there he is. Ooh, you.
I got a meme of that. I'm going to run all the memes at the end of this thing. It seems like my time of mocking Alec Baldwin has come to an end. He's not making any more content. Him and his wife are hiding, which I advised them to do. I didn't think they listened to me, but, I kept on saying, why are you guys still making videos? Because you're just making it worse every time. And they finally figured that out for themselves. It sucks for us, though, because, And Britney, someone wanted me to cover Britney because she's having a meltdown. But most of her meltdown involves dancing. And, weird dancing and revenge dancing. And, she's definitely saying something about her ex-husband. But whenever I put a dancing video up, YouTube demonetizes it because of her, her basically stripper clothing. My time of mocking Alec and, Britney I can still do in short videos. I can still, every once in a while, go through and do all her dancing and put them into short videos. So that's okay. But, it's an end of an era here. But let's put all the memes. I'm going to roll all my memes of Alec here. An ode to Alec P Baldwin.
You tell them that we are horrible, desperate, ghoulish creatures.
Hello, Mr. Baldwin. You're in my way. Sorry, sir. Get out of my way. Sorry. Out of his way. No, it's the other car, Alec.
I figured men do it. Why can't I do it too?
I figured men do it, so why can't I do it? Well, men can do it. Why am I going to do it? Why can't I have why can't I have a Johnson, right?
There's so much collaboration. There's so much sisterhood right now.
So much sisterhood. There's sisterhood out left and right. Look at this sisterhood. It's the fist of sisterhood.
And yeah, I would say hopefully we're done. But we still have to, Alex still has to go and do his part.
Boom, snip. You got to de-nut him. You got to de-nut Alec. This is great. Watch it. He's got to do his part.
Say hopefully we're done. But we still have to, Alex still has to go and do his part.
Look at her lace. Look at her face when she makes this scissors. She wants to de-nut this guy. She's been a disaster for Alec, right?
Consider the source.
Oh, she's a white girl? Yes, I am a white girl. I am a white girl.
So, for example, my wife's on the phone with her hairdresser or her friend. She's like, really? Okay, I can't wait to see you. That's going to be great. Fantastic. What time? 12 o'clock? My wife is from Spain. And she said, blah, blah, blah.
We have very few ingredients. We have tomatoes. We have, how do you say anything? Cucumbers. We have red pepper. We have, of course.
It's not easy, and I think part of it is that I'm in shape before I have a baby, and then I stay active when I'm pregnant, and I'm not trying to stay thin. I'm just trying to keep my circulation going and stretching and keep my muscle tone up, and then we're having a baby. It was a surprise, a wonderful surprise.
And one time at band camp.
It was a surprise, a wonderful surprise.
And one time at band camp.
It was a surprise, a wonderful surprise.
Well, there was a scream I heard, which is the scream that's normally reserved if there's a spider in the house on Long Island. I'm not exaggerating.
So the first part of the book is philosophy on how to live very namaste. I have 3 little babies. I live kind of a crazy life between work and them and everything else. So it's just, how to stay calm and centered and deal with things that are coming at you. Then we could talk about food.
I'm going to kick your culo.
It's gonna kick my culo.
I'm going to kick your culo.
It's gonna kick my culo.
Honey. Honey, this is Governor Christie's fleece. This is the fleece that everyone's been looking for. Did you steal the governor's fleece?
I cannot tell a lie. I stole it. I'm his biggest fan.
I admire Governor Christie, too. New Jersey State Police. Consider the source.
Oh, she's a white girl? Yes, I am a white girl. I am a white girl.
I don't wake up and look in the mirror and go, oh, there he is. Ooh, you.
Leonela! Leonela! Basta! Las palitas, basta! Las palitas, suficiente! Ay, ay, ay.
See. Itana idama ben. Itana! Itana, come. Dama! Itana! Itana! No! Come! Itana, come! Itana, hush! I'm being upstaged by a dog. That's where my career is at right now. Itanta! Come!
Ay, ay, ay.
See? It's been a little weird. Well, here we go. Oh, good girls. Hey, Tanta, come and sit, baby. Hey, Tanta, come. Hey, Tanta, come. That's my cue. Shh. Sit. Come here. Hey, Dama. Trump is alone. Trump is an anomaly. Trump is a maniac.
We some island boys doing Cameo. Woody Allen's a perv. Alec Baldwin shot his coworker, and his wife thinks she's Spanish. And we're on Cameo. I'm going to pick that up. And Cameo, we're island boys, and let the island boys.
Message to say how sorry I was at shooting famous cinematographers.
I want to apologize. I'm sorry that Vladimir Putin has effed with me again. Click with, I don't know what words to use today, but if they click with them.
Isn't marriage a gunfight sometimes? I'd light up a couple usually when I was working, because I'm so nervous when I'm shooting to get the job done. When I was shooting, or just stupid behavior. When I'm shooting.
Well, we're having a baby. How about that for a project?
Ay, ay, ay.
Cravings here, okay.
See.
Ay, ay, ay.
See.
Ay, ay, ay.
See.
But here's Miley J. Virus, and she had this to say.
Singer's tour was an investment in myself.
What? What does that mean, investment in yourself? What are you talking about? That's just Hollywood pretentious speak. Investment in yourself? Right? like you don't get enough that you have to invest in yourself. You haven't gotten enough from your undeserved fame and fortune. Right? You have to invest in I have to invest in myself. It's a wise investment. When I invest in myself, it's going to have a positive return because I'm such a wise investment.
A lot of these ideas were kind of so outlandish that no one really wanted to support me in making these pieces. And so I had big puppets, oversized beds. I came out of my own face on my tongue.
Isn't that the dream, though? Coming out of your own face on your tongue. Isn't it living the dream?
And this was me and Diane Martell. This was our full vision once again. She goes like, how would you want to end this concert? Like the show is so big. How do you end it? And I wanted to end it in a Truman Show reference. So I flew out on a giant hot dog, obviously, and I left through all the clouds and the exit sign the way that Jim Carrey does because I felt like the Truman Show was really a reflection of my life. I didn't make a dime on this tour because I wanted the tour to be excellent. And when everyone kept saying, why are you doing this? You're going to do like 100 shows and you're not going to make any money. I said, there's no one I would rather invest in than myself. So
exactly. Why would I invest in anybody else when I could make the wise investment and put it back into myself? Investing in myself is the best thing I can do. Why should I invest in any of the rest of you 8 billion people when I can invest in myself?
So I paid for it all to make it exactly what I thought I and the fans deserved.
Yeah, but me, mostly what do I deserve? Like, who cares about the fans? I'm not going to invest in them, but I'll invest in myself. So then there's this. Anyone that hates on you is always below you because they're just jealous of what you have. Miley Cyrus. Well, are you saying that, and again, her voice, I didn't mock her voice. I did this already and I forgot to turn on the mic. I've been doing this more and more lately. So, but her voice. Well, I'll talk about her voice when I edit. But she has a lot of things that you can dislike about her. One, that she sucks. Like she sucks as a singer. She sucks as an actress. She sucks as a human being. She's worked to degrade humanity. All the things that we've seen, the moral degradation, the demonic devil worship, Illuminati stuff, all that kind of stuff. And just the songs, the music, and all of it. Then there's her speaking voice. It sounds like she's, a 70-year-old barfly or whatever. I mean, there's just all these things about her. Her show, whatever that original show was, everything about Miley Cyrus is, to us in the truth community, unlikable, and she's negative in what she contributes. But all these people that say, well, anybody who criticizes me is a hater, and they're just jelly. They're just jealous of me. That means you're not going to change. You'll never confront your own suckiness. There's reasons why people don't like you or even hate you, and a lot of it has to do with you sucking. Some of it has to do with them. Like I always said, hatred's inside of you. Your hate is your hate. But you're, like if somebody's out in the middle of a movie theater and they're just making a noise like that during the whole movie theater, and the person says, "Can you be quiet, please?" You go, "You're just a hater. I'm great. You're just jealous. I'm above you because, you're just a hater." No, you're producing annoying, undesirable content, and maybe you could improve that. You can improve yourself, or just go away, like, we wish Biden and Trump would. But then there's this. CNN of all places called out the failure of masking right to Fauci's face. The little man squirmed and pivoted.
I would hope that if, in fact, we get to the point...
This is Smear Kanish. There's Veshy and Smear Kanish. Veshy's on MSNBC. They're both bald. Smear Kanish has these weird eyes, like just Fauci, looking ghoulish. Look at a ghoul here. Look at this ghoulish MNFer.
Where the volume of cases is such, and organizations like the CDC...
Okay, let's go to CNN's actual report here. This is the New York Post. Fauci admits the lack of COVID mask evidence, but wants us to wear them anyway. New York Post. So here's Trump.
Not accept your lockdowns. We will not abide by your mask mandates, and we will not tolerate your vaccine mandates.
Joining me now to discuss is Dr. Anthony Fauci. He, of course, is the former director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases. Dr. Fauci, nice to have you back. How worried are you that people will not follow advice to wear masks if we get to that?
Well, Michael, that's a very good question. As you said, if we get to that, I mean, we're starting to see a surge of cases, as you mentioned.
A surge.
About an 18 or 19% increase in hospitalizations, certainly going in the wrong direction with looks like a late summer and into the fall surge. How bad it's going to get, we don't know.
Okay, so this guy sets him up here. Let's watch this part here.
Concerned that people will not abide by recommendations. And we're not talking about mandates or forcing anybody, but when you have a situation where the volume of cases in society gets to a reasonably high level, particularly the vulnerable, those who are elderly and those with underlying conditions, are going to be more susceptible and vulnerable if they do get infected to get severe disease leading to hospitalization. We know that. That's a fact.
It's a fact.
Totally understood. There is a perception out there by many, how many I don't know, that they don't work. And that
So this guy's setting them up, right?
the data concludes that they didn't work in the first go-round. Respond to that on masks.
Okay, so he's not used to getting this from CNN. But he's like, all right, maybe he's got to ask me a little bit tougher question. There's more pushback. But this guy's setting them up, which, you know, they usually don't do. I mean, they haven't done it all to Fauci on CNN.
Yeah, well, that's not so. I mean, when you're talking about at the population level, that the data are less strong than knowing that if you look on a situation as an individual protecting themselves or protecting them from spreading it, there's no doubt that masks work. Different studies give different percentages of advantage of wearing it, but there's no doubt that the weight of the studies, and there have been many studies, indicate the benefit of wearing masks.
I'm going to refer to one of them. You've heard about it before. I heard about it from a number of radio callers. Brett Stevens in The Times talked about Cochrane. Put that on the screen. The most rigorous and comprehensive analysis of...
So this is where he's screwing Fauci. Like, they've never done this before. Where the guy asked him a question, he knew what Fauci's answer was going to be, and then he's got a study ready to go to call BS on Fauci. Like, it's something they could have done, you know, all along, but now they're doing it for the first time. And it's from the New York Times, no less.
Scientific studies conducted on the efficacy of masks for reducing the spread of respiratory illness, including COVID-19, was published last month. Its conclusions, said Tom Jefferson, the Oxford epidemiologist who is the lead author, were unambiguous. There is just no evidence that masks, make any difference, he told the journalist Mayan Damasi, full stop. But wait, hold on. What about the N95 masks as opposed to the lower quality surgical or cloth masks? Makes no difference. None of it, he said. Well, what about the studies that initially persuaded policymakers to impose mask mandates? They were convinced by non-randomized studies, flawed observational studies. How do we get beyond that finding of...
Kaboom. Dropping the bomb on Fauci. This guy on CNN. And he's like, oh my God, you guys turned on me? Like, he was just thinking they were going to give him, like, he was going to lob him a question. He didn't think he was going to bring up studies, right? Like, just calling him a liar. Like, just, you lied to us. That's what this guy just said. Just freaking lied to us. And you know what? Is YouTube going to go back and apologize for the mask strike they gave me? So many, you know, whatever it was. Now that this is, you know, being endorsed by the New York Times and these scientific studies, right? And all the rest of it.
Of that particular review.
Yeah, but there are other studies, Michael, that show at an individual...
He doesn't have them. He doesn't mention them by name.
...level for individual. When you're talking about the effect on the epidemic or the pandemic as a whole, the data are less strong. But when you talk about as an individual basis of someone protecting themselves or protecting themselves from spreading it to others, there's no doubt that there are many studies that show that there is an advantage. When you took...
So he's going to say this again. So let's be clear on what he's saying here, because he just called himself a liar. And I'll get into that. And so what he's saying is, and it makes no sense. He's saying that when you study the numbers of people who get COVID as a whole, as a collective, the numbers of cases, it doesn't do anything. There's no support for the idea that mask wearing prevents that number from being what it is. And so if there's 100,000 cases, there would be the same amount of cases with or without masks. And the CDC said this a long time ago. on their website. Like they said, irregardless of whether you have a mask or not, if you have COVID, irregardless of whether you're wearing a mask or not, if you have COVID, you can't be around people. You have to socially distance and you have to quarantine because the mask wasn't effective, right? They said it on their own website years ago, like 2 years ago. That I quoted it, and it was but like what he's saying here is on an individual basis, it'll protect you personally, but not the group, which means that everything they said before was BS because you were supposed to wear it to protect the group. That's the only reason you have mandates. You can choose to not wear it for yourself, but if it protects the group, you're supposed to do that. That's why they pushed it, because you were being selfish by not wearing it. Now they're saying all those people they called selfish for not wanting to wear a mask were right all along because they had the choice and it didn't affect other people at all in the collective.
Look at the broad population level, like the Cochrane study, the data are less firm with regard to the effect on the overall pandemic. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about an individual's effect on their own safety. That's a bit different than the broad population level.
So, brutal, what you just said there. It's an individual, because you remember this.
Because your mask doesn't protect you. It protects me. I wear my mask to protect you.
Fauci just called BS on this. Remember they changed the story on this so many times? And now he's saying, well, it protects you individually, but not collectively, which makes no sense. That's just like, that's like, like flim-flam man talk, right? That's like snake oil salesman talk. Okay, I want to wrap this thing up. I'm probably going to do that beast you just saw and the whole foochi thing over again on my other channel with some of the clips and memes I have from Fauci and other people about masks, all that stuff. So I'll probably put that on my other channel, I don't know, sometime soon. Or maybe I won't, I don't know. But the idea is there. And I had one more comment from a Trumper I briefly want to cover here. And the person says, Trump, it's to my okay Trumpers, it's time to wake up to the cult of Trump that is consuming you. And the person wrote Trump 2024, and there's probably about 30 to 40 exclamation points after that. I don't know when it happened, but it's been ongoing with me, but just something clicked recently that Trump needs to go away. And the only way for him to go away is that these stupid Trumpers realize that he can't do what they promised, that he screwed them over, he's using them, and he's not a messiah or hero, he's just a piece of boop. He doesn't really even think or believe like they do. He's just convinced them that he does. And they're not going to do that. Like, they're not going to change. They're not going to ever. I mean, it's just what Trump said. He could choose someone in Fifth Avenue. They wouldn't do anything. There's nothing you could say to these people to wake them up. And most of them are either not here on my channel already. So I'm just, making these videos for no reason. In terms of they're entertaining and, a lot of you guys agree with them. So it's for you guys. But they're not going to do anything to let, to get rid of Trump. Trump's not going to withdraw himself unless some kind of illness hits or something. He's going to just keep on, bringing us all down. And then because of that, they're probably going to stick with Biden unless he's just so inarticulate that he can't run him. So we're going to have Trump and Biden again, no matter, how many people, 70% don't want that, but it's going to happen either way. And so, give the people what they don't want. And that's not what politics is about. Politics is about assuading people on a perceptual level to make them think they're participating and their opinions matter. But when you run people who are, in Biden's case, his own party people aren't excited about him or enthusiastic about him, and the other party is now grown to hate him, and so he has very little upside. Trump's, the people that love Trump are becoming less and less desirable as a demographic and more, categorized and unwanted across the board. And so it's a bunch of people who either hate Trump or love Trump that are, excited about this election. But everyone else is like, just, go away. All of you, go away. And they're not going to, so that's that. There's no reason to, think about it anymore because those people don't have the ability to change. A few people can wake up here or there. It's not going to be enough for Trump to lose the primary. If they don't put him in jail, which I don't think they will, we'll see Trump run again, and then they'll probably keep Jojo Magoo around because they think he's the only one who can beat him, or whatever that is, so that's that. But these Trumpers, like this person writing this comment, I give thoughtful ideas, things that are based in practicality and fact, or at least in terms of speculation, it's based in sound reasoning. And the Trumpers can't argue any of those points because they're in some kind of a cult. They're stupid and they don't really, want to know the truth. And so they've become worse than sheeple, the Trumpers, like they just have, and that's just the way it is. Anyways, I got to wrap this thing up. Only spirituality will save this world. It's Paul Romano, definitely reporting for the Apocalypse and the Ascension. Everyone have a blessed day and be grateful.